Hey everyone, I am back and I'm sorry. My signal at work is horrible as usual. Anyway, so I'm not going to be here long. Just want to talk real quick about lowering your standards and values for people who don't want to meet them. Now, like I said, this message is predominantly for my ladies. However, if I have any brothers watching, then it's for you as well. And I want to talk about this because we have that so bad, especially with the pressure of today's generation and our society. People telling you, your standards are too high. You ain't gonna never find a man. Your standards are too high. No, they're not. What we do is we lower our standards out of desperation, because we want somebody so bad that we are willing to allow them to treat us any kind of way, and we're willing to say, you know what, I really know that I deserve more than this, but because I don't want to be alone and I don't want to be single, I'm just going to accept what it is that somebody else wants to give me, which is less than what I know that I'm worth. And we get into trouble like this because what we do is we lower our standards and our values to get into a relationship, and somehow we believe that the relationship will get better, or we get upset with the person for not treating us according to our worth. But then you got to realize you are the one that accepted less than what you are worth. And it's so heavy on my heart because so many people that come to me, and so many of my sisters, and I know I myself have done it before, and even some men, we suffer so greatly because we have so much to offer, right? And we have so much to give, but what we do is, because out of desperation, we're tired of being lonely, or we're tired of being the only person in our group that's 26 years old or 25 years old and single, and we want a husband and we want kids. We say, you know what, I feel like he's a liar, but I'm gonna accept it anyway because maybe I can change him over time. Or we say, you know what, I feel like I'm worth more than this, but this is probably the best I'm gonna ever get. And I'm gonna tell you something. God's best for you is never going to cause you to compromise. You are never, ever going to have to compromise your standards. You're never going to have to compromise your values for God's best for you. And we have got to stop being intimidated to act our worth and to uphold our standards because people don't want to meet them. If somebody in your life does not want to meet your standards and values, they shouldn't be there. Point blank, period. For example, over the last several years of my life, finding my identity in God, and I'm somebody who for a long time I had low self-esteem, and I really didn't even know myself, so I didn't know what standards and values to have. Over the last few years, getting to know God helped me get to know me, and ultimately it helped me learn what to accept and what not to accept, and what I'm worth. And I'm no longer afraid to stand up for my morals and my values, because at the end of the day, I know what I'm worth. And if you're not willing to put in the work, then you're not supposed to be in my life. And so we've got to stop saying, I know I'm worth more than this, but this person's going to leave my life if I hold them accountable to be honest in my life. Or this person's going to leave my life if I hold them accountable to be respectful to me or to be faithful to me. If you're afraid of losing somebody because you're standing up for yourself, you're devaluing yourself. And that's not something you should ever do. It's not something you need to do. It's not something you have to do. So we've got to stop lowering our standards and our values because people that we have in our life that shouldn't be there anyway don't want to put in the work to meet those standards and those values. That's like saying, I'm worth $1 million, but you can buy me for 10. If you're worth what you know you're worth, then you need to be concerned about having people in your life that know that worth and that are not afraid to treat you according to that worth. So this was just on my heart because I'm noticing, and I know I've experienced it, but I'm really noticing it more and more. People are settling because they're afraid that they're too picky, or their values and their standards are too high, or I'm not going to ever find anybody if my standards and my values are this high. And people are calling you picky, and people are saying, well, you're going to be single all your life because nobody wants to do that. Nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to treat you like that. Yes, they are. And another thing is the way that you can weed out the people that are supposed to be in your life. You can gauge who's supposed to be in your life by who's willing to meet your standards and values. When you really care about somebody, you don't mind meeting those standards and values because you value them as they're according to their worth. If somebody cannot meet your standards and values, or they're too lazy and they don't want to, they don't value you. And that's not somebody that should be in your life. So recognize your worth. Stop accepting less. Stop devaluing yourself because you're afraid of who doesn't want to meet your standards, or who's not going to meet your standards, or who thinks you're too picky, or who thinks that or this. I'm going to tell you something. I've learned, if you can't meet my standards and my values, or you don't want to, then you can't be in my life. Point blank and a period. So I was on my lunch break, and that was on my mind and on my heart, and I felt like I needed to share it. So love you guys.